All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Makakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. This is going to be a lesson on how it can be that people have got such faith, man, right? What is it that's causing for people to be doing all these things that they're doing and believing all these things that they're believing, man? And what is it that's made all these people that you're seeing all throughout the earth believe that they are a particular group of people, right? When they've never met each other, right? And then, yeah, that's what it's going to be about, man. Let me read this. This is Matthew chapter 13 and verse 16. But blessed are your ears. In fact, let me go up a bit. This is Matthew chapter 13 and verse 10. In fact, Matthew chapter 13 and verse 9. Who have ears to hear, let him hear. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. All right, so you would have to, if you understand and if you believe the Bible, you would have to understand that there's certain things that some people can see and other things that other people cannot see, right? There's certain people that can look at the exact same thing and see completely different things, man, right? There's certain people that can hear the exact same story, but they take out of it completely different things, right? There's such a thing in this world called esoteric, right? And exoteric, if I'm not mistaken. The other one is exoteric, right? And excuse me, I'm not exactly, you know what? I'll look it up right now. I've got something to where I can look it up for myself, right? I believe esoteric is the hidden. It says esoteric, intended for or likely to be understood, esoteric, intended for or likely to be understood by only a small number of people with a specialized knowledge or interest. So you've got hidden things that are in hidden messages within things in this world, even, right? You've got hidden things within this world. You've got hidden things within movies, right? But there's a hidden message within the Bible, right? Although everyone can read the Bible and see the exact same words, there's a hidden message in the Bible that only the elect of the nation of Israel are going to be able to extract from that, man, right? And the 144,000 in particular are going to be able to understand it and then speak it to others, right? The 144,000 have been given an even greater gift than the rest of the elect of the nation of Israel, because the other people of the elect of the nation of Israel are going to believe it. But the people that are of the 144,000, they're going to be able to decipher it and speak it, man. Right? Now let me carry on in Matthew chapter 13. I'm back in verse 11. He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever have, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away even that he have. Therefore speak I unto them in parables, because they seeing see not, and they hearing hear not, neither do they understand. And which is a clear point that there's people out there that can hear the same things that we've heard, see the same things that we've saw, yet they don't think that it's anything amazing. They don't understand that this thing happening throughout the earth with Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans calling themselves Hebrew Israelites, and even the other people that you would think would hate them, right? The people that look like Edomites that are also joining in onto it, man, and calling themselves Hebrew Israelites and joining in with the message that Edomites are going to get destroyed, even though they themselves look like Edomites, or even though they themselves might look like a Moabite, or even though they themselves look Filipino, right? They're still believing in the same message. They're still calling upon exactly the same God as what we call on, and they're still hoping for the exact same thing that we're hoping for. Why is that? Is it because they're sellouts to their own people, or is it because they're exactly the same nation as what we are? Like we teach that there's going to be Israelites that look like every single nation across the world, but you don't see nobody else that's claiming to be the chosen doing that, do you? They don't do that, man. They don't be bringing other people into their thing and treating them as equals. They don't be doing that, man. Verse 14. and in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their hearts, and should be converted, and I should heal them. Right? So the reason why these people can't understand this message goes even deeper than you think. It's because they're destined to be destroyed, man. These people are destined to not receive the word, and in not receiving the word, get destroyed because they couldn't hear it, even though they heard it, and they couldn't see it, even though they saw it, and in not being able to hear it and not being able to see it, even though they saw it and even though they heard it, they wasn't able to understand it. And in not understanding it, their mind wasn't able to be reborn again. They wasn't able to get converted. And therefore, in doing that, they're going to receive the destruction that's been promised for those Israelites that didn't repent. The same shall know it after death by pain, though, as the scriptures say. Let me carry on reading. Verse 16, Matthew chapter 13 and verse 16. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. And what in that particular case, he was talking about many people before have desired to see the Messiah, but didn't see. But in the future tense, many people were desiring to see this part of the prophecies now, where the Israelites are going to be woken again and reawaken to who they are, and we're getting to the end of all the prophecies now. So now the kingdom's closer. The kingdom's getting, the more and more prophecies that get fulfilled from this book, the more and more closer we are to our final stage, man, to the kingdom, to that everlasting kingdom that have been promised by the Lord, right? But going back to this scripture, man, there's many people in the world that have heard this thing and have seen this thing, and when they see it, they see men in dresses when they see it. But when a person of the elect sees it, they see a guy that's in a battle to become a righteous man on the earth and to become a God, man. That's what they see. When they see men standing on the corner, the people that don't believe, they see lunatics. But when a person of faith sees men on the corner, he sees men that have got such faith that's been given to them that is rare to see in the world, man. To be able to stand up against the whole world, that's what they see. That's what a person that's got faith sees. But people that don't have faith, they see a lunatic in their mind. That's what they see. But then these same people will see two people of the same gender holding hands, right? And then they'll think that that's okay. But then at the same time, they'll think it's okay if these people decide then that they want to have children, when the God of the Bible has already made a way for people to have children. And it requires people of the opposite gender to join together to make that work. Any other way, it don't work. And if people say, well, you can go to this or you can go to that, well, in doing that, you're making it be known that the method that's always been around is the perfect way to get children and to have a relationship. There's no need for no alternative methods. There's no need to be bringing technologies into it, because there's already been a way that's been established for thousands of years to where people can have children. But when you talk like this, people get hurt in their feelings when it's the truth. Everybody that's alive right now on the earth had a male and a female parent. Everybody. That's always been the process. Always. There's never been no process. Yahweh Shai also was born from that process, because there's no such thing as a virgin birth. That's not true. The prophecies always stated that Yahweh Shai, that the Messiah was going to come through the seed of David, and that he was going to come from Bethlehem, as it says in Micah the 2nd chapter. Now, let me carry on reading some more, man, because people don't see what's actually happening, and they see something different to what we see. They don't understand. You know what? Let me go to this. I'll go to the book of Acts first. This is the book of Acts chapter 5 the book of Acts chapter 5 and verse 35. In fact, verse 34. Acts chapter 5 and verse 34. Then stood there up one in the council, a Pharisee named Gamaliel, a doctor of the law, had in reputation among all the people, and commanded to put the apostles forth a little space. And he said unto them, Ye men of Israel, take heed to yourselves what ye intend to do as touching these men. For before these days rose up Theudas, boasting himself to be somebody, to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who were slain, and all as many as obeyed him were scattered and brought to naught. And after this rose up Judas of Galilee in the days of the taxing, and drew away much people after him. He also perished, and all, even as many as obeyed him, were dispersed. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men, and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. But if it be of God, ye cannot overthrow it, lest haply ye be found even to fight against God. So what these people don't understand is that this thing that's taking place, if it's of men, it's going to come to nothing. But as people start seeing this thing get more and more and more in the public eye, more and more spoken about, right? As people that once upon a time scoffed, right? There's going to start being women that scoffed, right? That are going to find out that they start dating a guy. They might want to start dating a guy. And then he might say, we're Israelites, And she might have thought he was the dream guy, but then he says that. And now she's like, ugh, I don't want to deal with that. Or there might be a man that scoffed. And then he starts trying to get with some woman that's fine or whatever. And he's starting to like her. And then she says to him, we're Israelites. Have you saw about these Israelite guys? Have you saw about this Israelite thing? Right? And then he's going to be disgusted by her and not want to deal with her no more. Right? And people are going to start getting more and more cut because they're going to start seeing the truth of the Bible becoming more and more in their face, and they're not going to be able to hide it, man. There's going to be more celebrities that are going to start talking about it, right? There's going to be more people that are in it every day that are going to start talking about this thing, and people are going to start realizing that they can't escape from this message that they've heard once upon a time, but scoffed it, man. And that's going to start making them realize that when they turn that message down, that they should have actually accepted it, man. And it's going to bring fear in their heart because they're still not going to have the faith that's necessary to believe it, yet they're going to see everybody else joining onto it or everybody else talking about it. So then that's where the fake stuff comes in, man, where people start pretending that they're about something. That's where that social justice warrior spirit starts coming in. And you're going to have people that are going to start thinking, I've always believed in this, I never scoffed once. And people are going to be like, nah, actually, you did scoff. And in fact, I saw the video. You was a scoffer. I remember you. You scoffed it off. So what are you doing here in front of me now, trying to talk to me about this when you already heard this 2 decades before you ever heard me saying it? So where was you all that time? That's what's going to be said to a lot of these people, man. That they didn't do nothing. They didn't buy a Bible. They didn't buy some highlighters. They didn't buy some pens. They didn't start writing down notes and trying to learn and see if this stuff was true. Even though they had a whole 2 years that everyone got given to be able to learn things and to be able to get a lot more free time to learn and study up to see what's going on in the earth, man. But people didn't do it though. Or they did it fake. And then now, as soon as everything free up now they're gone back to whatever they wanted to do before. But God watched that, man. He saw that there was fake with it. This is Romans chapter 11 and verse 7. What then? Israel have not attained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. According as it is written, God have given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear, unto this day. Because you gotta understand, man, what is it here? What can it be that makes a man, right, get told by his teacher, everyone better get to the camp, right? Or everyone better get to the school. Everyone better learn this word, right? And then he says, but you better not jump over the train tracks and try and jump over the trains and get on there for free. If you ain't got the money, don't try and steal, because you're not supposed to steal according to the scriptures. And then that particular man, right, walks 4 hours to where his school is to learn about the scriptures, and then learns and then walks 4 hours back. What makes a man do that? What makes a man do that? What makes somebody do that? Let's use another example. What makes a 16, 15-year-old, right, go out on the streets barely even knowing the scriptures, or not even knowing the scriptures that much, and then start teaching it? What kind of faith do you have to have been given from Yahweh to be able to do such things, man? To start a whole thing in a particular country that you're from, right? And make it turn into a bigger thing in a particular country that you're from, even though there was nobody else doing it before you. What makes somebody do that? What makes somebody that's heard a couple of Hebrew Israelite videos and watched some Hebrew Israelite videos then go be somewhere like Australia, where there's big ass wild animals and crazy stuff going on over there, and start doing the same thing? What makes people travel from one country to another country to hear men speak about the Bible? And it's not men that have got no mega church. It's men that are just teaching the Bible on the street. What is it that makes people do that? What is it that makes people travel all over a particular country to teach the Bible with other men? And again, it's not a mega church that they're doing this in. It's not a church with heating and with loads of honeys in there and loads of tithes money that you can collect, and you're going to become rich from teaching it, from teaching a prosperity doctrine. It's not that. It's teaching about this society falling down. What is it that makes people do that? Is it because it's true? Why they're doing these things? Like, why is it that people can't see this stuff, man? Why is it that a lot of people saw the same thing, but they don't respect that, man? Right? But then if you go into the world, let me read this scripture first, in fact. Let me read this scripture first. This is Wisdom of Solomon. The book Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12 and verse 17. I believe is the scripture I'm looking for. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12 and verse 17. For men will not believe that thou art full of power. Thou showest thy strength, and among them that know it, thou makest their boldness manifest. And that's what's getting ready to happen. There's a whole bunch of people that don't believe in the Lord, right? And they're boasting in their world. They're boasting in their achievements. They've got money, right? They've got women. They've got a status. They've got a social group. They've got a friend that's a doctor, so they can get that free homeboy hookup on the medical care. They've got that friend that's a real estate agent, so they can get that homeboy hookup on, oh, this house is going in for cheap. You can get this house for cheap, right? They've got the homeboy hookup on the club scene. They might know a guy that owns a restaurant, so they got the hookup on that. They've got a whole social circle, you know, so they can just get things for free, and then people that know them can get a hookup from whatever they've got going on. So they've got that whole thing. They're boasting in that kind of life. But then when they see the truth of the Bible getting seen in the world and they hear it, they're like, nah, I don't receive that. They can't receive it, man. Neither can they understand why other people do receive it. They can't understand it. What was it that made Peter? What was it that made Peter be able to walk on water? When Yahushua was able to, the only other person that was able to do that. What was it that made Peter be able to walk on water? I believe it was Peter. What was it that made him be able to walk on water? What was it that made Jeremiah bun out kings and tell them about himself, even though he was young? What was it that made him do that when he was like 15, 16 years old, or whatever age he was? What was it that made him do that, man? What was it? What was it that made Stephen tell all those Israelites right to their face what he had to think, what he thought about them, and how wicked they were, to the point where they killed him? What was it that made him do that? What was it that made Paul be damn near almost killed, right? And then go through the same city again afterwards, after he recovered, and go through the same place? What was it that made him do that? What was it that made Yahushua be prepared to die for everyone's sins? What was it that made him do that? For when I say everyone, I mean every Israelite. What was it that made him die for their sins? What was it that made Noah, right? What was it that made Noah speak about rain falling from the sky before that even existed? Before that method of making water fall upon the earth ever existed, he was speaking about that. Just like how we're speaking about UFOs and chariots before people have ever seen that method of flight actually exists and that method of vehicle ever exists, man. But people are going to see that it exists. But what is it that's made us see about that way before it's ever happened, man? What is it? Because it's very clear in the Bible that people are going to be confounded and that people are going to be confused and that people are going to realize that the way that they thought life was not the way. But the way that we thought life was is the way. Let's read this. This is, let me jump quickly. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 and verse 1. For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright. Our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. So that's what the wicked think, right? But let's jump to verse 21. You can read the whole thing if you want to yourself, but I'm gonna jump to verse 21 because it mentions loads of things that they believe in. But I'm gonna jump to verse 21. Such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness have blinded them. So being wicked makes you blind, man. And being wicked don't mean that you're just running around harming people all the time. You can be wicked and you're not even necessarily harming people all the time, but you love money. You can be wicked that way, man. You can be wicked that way. Right? There's many ways to be wicked, man. There's many ways to be evil, but there's only one way to go about to receive the kingdom. There's many ways. Proverbs 14 and 12 says, there is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Being a rapper seems right to a man. When he's rapping, spitting those bars, telling us how broke we are, right? And telling us that he'll fuck our bitch, right? And telling us that he's got a watch that we could never have. Telling us that he's got the chains and that he's the coldest nigga in the club. When he's telling us all that, telling us how we're broke, bitch ass, and all of this. When he's bunning us out, telling us how poor we are, and that we can't get any section in the club. And when he's telling us how much of a piece of garbage we are, that seems right to a man, right? But then when that man dies, like as many of these rappers do, then it don't seem right to a man because the end of that way was death. Now people might say, well, your Messiah that you're talking about, the end of his life was death, but he lived life though. So what happened to him after his death? Did he not get resurrected? He fulfilled all the law and was found righteous according to the law in every single way. And when he died, he came back to life again. Because death couldn't contain him. Because he was overly right. He was overly exactly what he needed to be. He was perfect in how he lived his life. So death couldn't contain him with how he lived. Because he didn't live a life of death. He lived a life as the scriptures say he's supposed to. With fear of God and keeping the commandments. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. But this message, man, and this thing that people are seeing, there's a lot of people that don't respect him, and they don't see these people out and be like, man, takes a lot of faith to do that, man. They don't see that. They'll say it in passing and that, but they don't respect it to the point where they change their life based on it, though. They don't really see it for what it actually is. They see it as like, oh, it's just a phase kind of thing. They don't see it for what that is actually what Yahweh's decided is going to be what's going to bring this world down. They don't see it for that. This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5 and verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand up in great boldness. In fact, let me read this. Let me read this, man. Let me, 1 second. This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 4 and verse 17. For they shall see the end of the wise and shall not understand what God in his counsel have decreed of him, and to what end the Lord have set him in safety. They shall see him and despise him, but God shall laugh them to scorn, and they shall hereafter be a vile carcass, and a reproach among the dead forevermore. For he shall rend them and cast them down headlong, that they shall be speechless, and he shall shake them from the foundation, and they shall be utterly laid waste, and be in sorrow, and their memorial shall perish. And when they shall cast up their accounts of their sins, they shall come with fear, and their own iniquities shall convince them to their face. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. So that's what's going to be causing people to be ashamed and confounded. They're going to see their own wicked lives that they lived. They're going to see the result of their lives, and they're going to see the result of the lives that people that was living a life that they deemed foolish lived. That, and what I read there was Wisdom of Solomon chapter 4, verse 17, then to verse 5 and verse 1. And I'll read that again, in fact. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 4 and verse 17. For they shall see the end of the wise, and shall not understand what God in his counsel have decreed of him, and to what end Yahweh have set him in safety. For they shall see him and despise him, but Yahweh shall laugh them to scorn, and they shall hereafter be a vile carcass, and a reproach among the dead for evermore. For he shall rend them and shake them down headlong, that they shall be speechless, and he shall shake them from the foundation, and they shall be utterly laid waste, and be in sorrow, and their memorial shall perish. And when they cast up their accounts of their sins, they shall come with fear, and their own iniquities shall convince them to their face. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. Now, who's that such? The such is those types of people that it just previously mentioned, man. People that thought that they were living the right way, but they're gonna, and those people that saw the end of the wise and was like, what the hell is this? What's this? I was chasing all these women. I had all these flashy cars. I had all these sports cars, right? But these people are going to receive something now that I'm seeing that's way greater than that. These people had a vision of something that was way beyond what I could see. Because people think that people that believe in the Bible, that on the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, they think that we don't like nice things, man. That's what they think in their mind. But we like nicer things than they like. If we're being real about it, we like nicer things than they like. They like wearing somebody else's clothes that are designer. But we're thinking further on in the future than that. We're thinking about making our own custom made stuff that we're gonna have with our own family emblems on there. We're thinking of beyond that, man. We're thinking way beyond. They're thinking about having a gold chain. We're thinking about owning gold. They're thinking about driving a fast car. We're thinking about owning a chariot, a heavenly UFO, man. That we're thinking of those things, and people say, "Oh, nah, you're never gonna get that. That's not real." Well, that's what you think. You people think that it's not real, but it is real though. That's the thing. These things are real. These things actually are real, man. It's just that you people can't see it. It's not been made for faithless people to see this. You people are thinking about living and retiring with money or whatever. We're thinking about living forever, so that we can enjoy our wealth for all of our life and still be in our strength of our body. That's what we're thinking about. So we're actually thinking of a higher level than you people are thinking, man. You people are thinking about getting a good job. We're thinking about having it to where we don't have to work, to where we just running the show. We're thinking of the world from being rulers. You people are thinking of the world from being cogs fitting into a particular system where you can kind of get as much as you can and not be seen, so that you don't ruffle too many feathers and get cancelled. That's what you people are thinking about, man. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5 and verse 2. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for, because they're not going to be able to quantify what they're seeing, man. They're not going to be able to fully express what they saw, and all the world is going to see this when it happens. All the world is going to see men get taken up into chariots, and they're not going to be able to express what they saw, man. There's a particular movie called Left Behind, which shows some version that they've made of this type of event, of the chariot event, right? What the world tries to call rapture and all that. But when it happened, people couldn't explain what they saw, man, and they was bugging out, man. They couldn't explain what it was that they saw. They was losing their mind, man. And that's what people always forget when they mention the chariot thing. People are still going to be down here when that's happened. The nukes are going to go off in America, destroying that whole country. But people are still going to be down here in the other countries, because those countries are not getting completely destroyed, but there's still going to be wars going on even after the nukes hit too. There's still going to be more things going on. There's still going to be people that are going to be like, man, we ain't got no hope now, so I'm really going to just do a madness. They're going to really be like, I'm going to really do even worse than I ever did before that now, because now I know that I ain't got no hope, because I never got beamed up, so they might just really lose the plot now. You will not want to be down here when all hell breaks loose, man. You will not, man. But these people, they don't understand that, man. They think that they're gonna just get beamed up by believing in some fake Messiah, man. That's how these Christians are in their pride. These Christians that are never prepared to say what the biblical judgment is of something. In fact, they'll just say, "Oh, that was how the Israelites did things back in the day." But then, is that how it's the right way to live, though? That's what they'll never say. They'll always say that, oh, this way was for the Israelites to live. But then they want to try and come and be a spiritual Israel. So now when they're spiritually Israelite, they don't have to live according to the law that's spiritual. Isn't that interesting? But anyway, I'm going to end the lesson there, man, and just go into just finish it on how people can't see the same things that people with faith can see when they see the same thing, man. They're seeing this as though it's a joke. But Yahweh's making it be a thing of, no, this is what he's chose to make men receive salvation, man. And I'm going to end the lesson there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Shalom.